Operation Fasanyama neutralized 6 terrorists and rescue victims during an operation in Suburu Forest in Zamfara State. Operatives of the Department of State Services arrest 2 members of the Sea Pirate Gang and foil the hijacking of a crude oil vessel in Bayelsa State. President Bola Tinubu is set to undertake a state visit to Turkey aimed at deepening ties and exploring new avenues of collaboration between both nations. And Minnesota Governor Tim Walz calls on President Donald Trump to withdraw federal immigration agents from the state following a second fatal shooting in the state within 3 weeks. And we begin with security. Troops of the 8th Division Garrison Strike Force operating under Operation Fasanyama Sector 2 have inflicted a significant blow on the terrorist elements in Zamfara State, neutralizing 6 fighters, dismantling multiple camps, recovering weapons, and rescuing a kidnapped underage victim. In a statement issued on Tuesday, the spokesperson for Operation Fasanyama, Captain David Dadeusi, disclosed that the operation was conducted against terrorist hideouts in the Simbubu Forest axis of Maradun local government area, and that's part of the sustained effort to restore peace and security to the affected communities. According to Captain Adewusi, troops first encountered the terrorists at Idolomu village, where 2 suspects were neutralized following an exchange of fire. The strike force subsequently advanced deeper into the forest, engaging another group at Roduno village, where 4 additional terrorists were eliminated. The operation also recorded a notable humanitarian success. During further clearance of the forest, troops rescued a kidnapped underage girl, Halira Ibrahim, bringing relief to her family and the surrounding community. And still on security, the Nigerian Air Force has reaffirmed its own commitment to intensifying air operations and strengthening interagency collaboration to support ongoing efforts to curb banditry and other security challenges in Zamfara State and across the wider Northwest region. This assurance was given by the commander of the 207 Quick Response Group of the Nigerian Air Force, GUSO, Group Captain Pascal Ogba, during the Nigerian Air Force's Base Social Cultural Activities BASA for the year 2025, which was held in the state capital.
We may all take our seats.
The Nigerian Air Force Base Social Cultural Activities, BASA, is an annual event organized by the Nigerian Air Force to promote unity, cultural integration, and stronger ties between military personnel and host communities. The 2025 edition featured colorful cultural dance performances by different ethnic groups, including Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Tiv, and Igbo, reflecting Nigeria's cultural diversity and fostering civil-military relations.
The commander wants to take the lead.
The commander of the 207 Quick Response Group, Nigerian Air Force, used the occasion to affirm the Air Force's commitment to supporting ground troops and other security agencies in tackling banditry and related crimes in Zamfara State.
The unit recorded notable operational achievements, including intelligence-driven smart operations, the employment of advanced technologies for enhanced operational effectiveness, as well as the enhancement of a proactive safety culture.
Representing the governor of Zamfara State, Governor Dauda Lawal, the Emir of Gusau commended the Nigerian Air Force and other security agencies for their sacrifices and sustained efforts in maintaining security across the state. He reaffirms the commitment of the state government to continue supporting security agencies through effective cooperation, logistics assistance, and community engagement.
I wish to particularly commend the 207 Quick Response Group for its vital role in supporting security operation within Zamfara State and the wider Northwest region. On behalf of the government and the people of Zamfara State, I express a profound appreciation for your courage, sacrifice, steadfast commitment to the protections of lives and property. As you prepare to commence another year of training and operations, I urge all personnel to remain focused, disciplined, and united. As we celebrate today Let us also remember that our diversity remains a source of strength, unity, and operational effectiveness.
The event, which climaxed with a presentation of awards to outstanding Nigerian Air Force personnel in recognition of their dedication and exemplary service during the year 2025, featured a tug-of-war competition involving personnel of the Nigerian Air Force, Army, the Department of State Services, and other paramilitary agencies, further reinforcing interagency camaraderie.
The Nigerian Air Force has appealed to retired officers and veterans to support ongoing air operations across the country by providing credible and timely intelligence to aid efforts to combat insecurity. This appeal was made during an engagement with retired officers in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. The service also reassured that veterans of its sustained commitment to their welfare, pledging improved support and continued engagement with retired personnel. Our correspondent Charles Oporum reports.
It's the Chief of Air Staff's Veterans Parley at the Nigerian Air Force Base in Port Harcourt, bringing together serving officers and retired personnel in a show of unity and shared purpose. Representing the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, Air Vice Marshal Ayodele Famuyiwa says retired officers remain a vital asset to the Air Force, given their presence within communities where security threats often emerge.
The address I'm going to make on behalf of the Chief of the Air Staff, because there's a current effort by the Chief in liaising with the Ministry of Labour and Employment to come up with a framework that can enhance the integration of veterans back into civil life.
He explains that the engagement reflects the Chief of Air Staff's command philosophy, which places priority on personnel welfare, professionalism, and operational effectiveness, noting that how retirees are treated directly influences the morale of serving officers.
Through interaction with those that are retired, because for an organization like the military or any other system, how you treat those who have exited the system has a lot of influence on those that are still within. And for the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Kelvin and Leke Distinguished Flying Star, its priority, number one priority, is the welfare and the well-being of personnel.
Earlier, the commander of the 115 Special Operations Group, Nigerian Air Force Port Harcourt, says the parley provides an avenue to appreciate veterans and tap into their wealth of experience.
This parley is a show that the Nigerian Air Force still very much recognizes your efforts in the past. Need your contribution to move forward, and that the Nigerian Air Force will continue to tap from your wealth of experience.
Speaking on behalf of the veterans, retired Air Vice Marshal Tumboyi Dick Ireneberry commends the Air Force leadership for the engagement and calls for sustained improvement in veterans' welfare.
We used to call it Air Force reunion, usually once a year, on the part of the activities for the Air Force Day celebrations. That was the first. Then various chiefs started. It depends on the distance. I think the 1 year is good, but definitely this frequency is much better.
The parley featured medical checkups, health talks, and interactive sessions. In a related event, the Air Force also held its annual base socio-cultural activities to honor veterans and promote unity among personnel and their families. The Nigerian Air Force says continued collaboration with veterans will further strengthen operational effectiveness and national security. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
The Department of State Services, the DSS, has arrested 2 suspected members of a pirate gang in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State over an alleged plot to hijack a crude oil-laden vessel in the Gulf of Guinea. Security sources identify the suspects as Jeffrey Atzizara, 38, from Alebiri in Ekeremo local government area of Bayelsa State, and Divine Kelechi Onoeze, 42, from Nekede in Owerri, the Imo State capital. They were reportedly apprehended at a hotel in Ontanasha Street in Edekwe local government area of Yenogwa. Preliminary investigation also says the corroborated by professional statements reveal that the suspects and their accomplices planned to seize the vessel, abduct its crew and steal its cargo. Sources disclosed that Onoeze allegedly financed that operation, while at Zaria was responsible for recruiting additional pirates. The arrests come shortly after the DSS and joint operations with sister security agencies and forest guards successfully rescued abducted pastors and other victims in Kaduna and Borno states, underscoring the agency's sustained effort to combat organized crime, piracy, and other security threats in the country. The Managing Director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Samuel Obuku, has reaffirmed the Commission's commitment to supporting security agencies in the Niger Delta to sustain peace, strengthen security, and accelerate developments across the region. Mr. Obuku gave this assurance during a courtesy visit by the Commander Joint Task Force South-South Operation Delta Safe, Rear Admiral Olugbenga Oladipo, to the Commission's headquarters in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. According to him, the NDDC will in the coming days carry out additional interventions across security formations in the region to enhance operational capacity, protect lives, and safeguard critical oil installations.
The new Commander Joint Task Force JTF South-South Operation Delta Safe, Rear Admiral Olugbenga Oladipo, accompanied by component commanders and heads of departments of the JTF, visit the corporate headquarters of the Niger Delta Development Commission NDDC Port Harcourt, the River State capital.
Here to introduce the Commander Joint Task Force.
The group is received by the Managing Director of the NDDC, Samuel Obuku, and the Commander discloses that the visit is to formally notify the Commission of his assumption of duties and to deepen collaboration between both organizations.
The mandate of the OPDS is basically to protect all oil and gas infrastructure, protect lives and property, and stop crude oil theft and bunkering. And the President included that increase production. It's not a simple task, but we need your support as partners. That's why we're here this afternoon, to let you know that we're here to support you all around your states. From the day I resumed, we have so much threats about attack. So leading up to the Christmas, we didn't really sleep, making sure the whole Niger Delta and the Southeast was safe.
Given the region's strategic importance to Nigeria's economy, the Managing Director of the NDDC says the Commission will continue to work closely with security agencies to pave way for more development.
For us in NDDC, we are believers of the renewed hope agenda. And the renewed hope agenda is all about bringing about peace and stability in Nigeria. We will not allow any part of Nigeria to be destabilized, especially the Niger Delta, because the Niger Delta is actually the nerve of this country. If the Niger Delta is destabilized, it will affect the economy of Nigeria. Hence, we're also ensuring that we don't allow that to happen.
Recalling the Commission's several interventions to support security agencies across the region, the NDDC leadership gives further assurance of sustained support.
For the fact that you have just come to resume in the Niger Delta, be rest assured that we're here to support you. We're here to partner with you to ensure that you succeed, because your success is also our success. Since we have said our interest is intertwined, we just have to ensure that we complement each other for everybody to succeed, and to ensure that Mr. President's mandate of crude oil production increment is achieved.
With Nigeria's crude oil production reaching approximately 1.63 million to 1.71 million barrels per day, the expectation of all stakeholders is that these visits will lead to sustained partnership to ensure increased crude oil production, lasting peace and stability in the oil-rich region.
In part two, after the break, Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf is set to join the All Progressives Congress on Monday following his resignation from the new Nigeria People's Party. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Troops of Operation Fasanyama neutralized 6 terrorists and rescue victims during an operation in Siburu Forest in Zamfara State. Operatives of the Department of State Services arrest 2 members of a sea pirate gang, foiled the hijack of crude oil vessel in Bayelsa State. President Bola Tinubu is set to undertake a state visit to Turkey aimed at deepening ties and exploring new avenues of collaboration between both nations. And Minnesota Governor Tim Walz calls on President Donald Trump to withdraw federal immigration agents from the state following a second fatal shooting in the state within 3 weeks. We continue with security matters as the Nigerian Army says it is taking proactive steps rather than reactive ones to end the battle against banditry and kidnapping in Karim Lamido local government area of Taraba State. The Commander 6th Brigade, Nigerian Army Sector 3 Operational Wellstroke, Brigadier General Kingsley Owa, stated this during the 2025 West Africa Social Activities of the Nigerian Army organized by the 114 Rear Battalion. The move follows the designation of council as a local government of particular security concern by the state government following an unending spate of insecurity.
Gathered here are troops of Nigerian Army 114 Rear Battalion in Mufti, joined by their families, civilian populace, government officials, and the Commander 6th Brigade to socialize, interact, and ease tension after passing through stress and rigorous time fighting insecurity in the preceding year under the West Africa Social Activities Platform. Although the gathering provides an opportunity to celebrate successes recorded, as well as take stocks of military operations, the recent designation of Karim Lamido local government area by Taraba state government as a council of particular security concern remains an issue.
The locations have been beefed up with enough manpower. We have additional combat enablers. We are receiving 4 MRAPs this weekend from the state government, and all of them will be deployed in Karim Lamido.
The 114 Rear Battalion takes charge of security concerns in local government areas such as Karim Lamido, Lao, Yoro, Zing, and Ardokola, and the commanding officer explains that the Nigerian Army is changing tactics with the acquisition of combat enablers by Taraba state government.
These combat enablers showcase the posture of the Nigerian Army. By so doing, those bandits, the kidnappers, when they see those combat enablers, they will know that we are actually ready and we're able to flush them out.
The state government is pledging unflinching support to the military and sister security agencies to sustain the momentum against insecurity in Taraba State.
Within the last 1 year or so, the government has been able to support the military, support security operations with a lot of infrastructure, a lot of support, both in material and financial. And he has promised to sustain that.
Some soldiers who demonstrated bravery and excellence in the fight against insecurity were honored.
For the year 2025, please
Round of applause for him.
Cultural dances, tug of war, display and inspection of African dishes, and the ignition of a bonfire to mark the end of 2025 training year and the commencement of the 2026 training year are some of the activities that spiced up the event.
And President Bola Tinubu is scheduled to depart Abuja on Monday, January the 26th for a state visit to the Republic of Turkey. According to the statement from the presidency, the visit is aimed at strengthening the long-standing cordial relations between Nigeria and Turkey while exploring additional areas of cooperation in security, education, social development, innovation, and aviation. During the visit, President Tinubu and his Turkish counterpart are expected to engage in high-level political and diplomatic discussions centered on shared interest in finance, communication, trade, and investment. The program will also feature meetings between senior officials of both countries and the signing of several memoranda of understanding covering areas like scientific research, energy, technical cooperation, media and communications, military cooperation and protocol, among others. A business forum will also be held as part of the visit, bringing together investors from both nations to identify and explore mutually beneficial investment opportunities. Members of the president's entourage participating in bilateral meetings include the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, and the Chairman House Committee on Defense, Honorable Jimmy Benson, among others. President Tinubu is expected to return to the country at the conclusion of the visit. A former governor of Ogun State, Senator Ibikunle Amosun, has called for strict adherence to the principle of rotational presidency ahead of the 2027 general election, describing it as vital to the promotion of justice, equity and fairness in the country. Senator Amosun made the call while addressing a large gathering of supporters at his 68th birthday celebration held at the Ake Palace Pavilion in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. While asking his supporters to continue to show understanding and support for the administration of President Bola Tinubu, the former governor encouraged them to remain steadfast, assuring that his next political move will be made known in due course.
Activities marking the 68th birthday celebration of Senator Ibikunle Amosun in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, began with a special prayer session held at the celebrant's country home in Ibara, GRA. The prayer gathering drew Islamic scholars, imams and alfas, led by the chief imam of Egba, Saad Bangbola, who offered prayers for good health, peace and continued guidance. Family members, political associates, friends and captains of industry gathered for the special prayer, where the former governor expressed gratitude to God for a life filled with purpose and service. To many of his admirers, he represents a rare blend of principled leadership, loyalty and friendship.
He has a lot of qualities that are human. One, he's a forthright person. You know where he stands on issues. Aside from that, when he ran for the governor of Ogun State and he became the governor, there was positive impact in Ogun State. And we are all very proud of him.
You will not find him mixing words. When he stands somewhere, you know that's where he stands. So I would say he's a constant star.
After the prayer session, the former governor, accompanied by his wife and other dignitaries, arrived at the Ake Palace Pavilion to a rousing welcome from thousands of supporters. The atmosphere was festive, turning the gathering into a carnival-like celebration. Addressing the cheering crowd, Senator Ibikunle Amosun stressed the importance of respecting rotational presidency, describing it as vital for equity, justice, and lasting peace.
Now it is the turn of us in the south, and we have in the saddle President Tinubu is there now, representing all of us in Nigeria primarily. Indeed, it is a no-brainer for anybody that loves Nigeria to agree that whatever we are doing, we should respect that rotational arrangement and that rotational agreement.
He also drummed support for President Bola Tinubu's second-term bid, noting that reforms in key sectors of the national economy are already yielding positive results.
Yes, there is no way we will have everything that is perfect that we want, but gradually we are on the way, and by God's grace we will get there.
A major highlight of the 68th birthday celebration was his visit to the Stella Obasanjo Motherless Home and the Ibara Correctional Center, where he donated food items and cash to support the less privileged and inmates.
And ahead of the 2027 general elections, the governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo, has rallied support for President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid also, declaring that Nigeria is experiencing sustained development under the president's leadership. Addressing a rally in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital, Governor Ododo described President Tinubu as the boldest leader the country has produced in recent times, noting that his economic policies are driving national transformation. The governor also says that with the stabilization of the Naira, President Tinubu has earned the right to a second term in office.
Youths from across Kogi State gathered in Lokoja for a rally in support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election bid. Amid singing and dancing, speakers underscored the need for continued support for President Tinubu and Kogi State Governor Usman Ododo.
Your Excellency, the youth of Kogi is ready come 2027 to deliver the vote for President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. And of course, your assignment as a governor of Kogi State will not stop here. Moving forward, you are going to lead the youth of this country to deliver for Ahmed Bola Tinubu come 2027.
A president that said insecurity will not thrive in Nigeria and brought about structure to ensure that day by day the military will be strengthened to face any attack against our country. Does he not deserve to come back?
The National Association of Kogi State Students says the achievements of President Tinubu and Governor Ododo justify their re-election.
Your Excellency, your commitment to the security of students has brought peace to our campuses and communities. Your Excellency, when you introduced student health insurance under Kogi State Health Insurance Agency, you spoke to our well-being, not just our education.
Speaking at the event, Governor Usman Ododo pledged his loyalty to President Tinubu, describing him as a bold leader whose tough decisions helped avert economic collapse.
We are seeing the results of courage. The Naira is stabilizing. Fuel prices are becoming more friendly. Food prices are responding. The cost of living is dropping, while the standard of living is rising. This is not about grammar. This is not about propaganda. This is about results. This is what you get when a courageous leader chooses country over comfort. This is what you get when Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is president.
In a show of commitment, youths in the state presented a 100 million naira donation to the governor, for onward transmission to President Tinubu to support the purchase of his nomination form. As the rally winds down, organizers and participants reaffirm their commitment to mobilizing grassroots support ahead of the elections, expressing confidence that a second term for President Ahmed Tinubu will deliver sustained development and improved welfare for Nigerians.
Still ahead on the news at 10, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, intercept a Brazilian national found with heroin worth 3 billion naira concealed in coffee packages. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10 on Channels Television. Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf is set to rejoin the All Progressives Congress, the APC, on Monday, January the 26th, 2026, following his resignation from the New Nigeria People's Party, the NNPP. This was confirmed in a statement issued on Sunday by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Bature Dawaki Tofa. According to the statement, Governor Yusuf's return marks a homecoming for the APC, a party he first joined in 2014. That year, he won the party's primary for the Kano Central senatorial seat, but later ceded the ticket to Senator Rabiu Kwakunso. The statement explains that the governor's decision was guided by the prevailing realities of governance, national cohesion and development, describing his return to the APC as both necessary and strategic. Governor Yusuf says the APC remains a familiar and very well-structured platform for progressive governance, and says the rejoining of the ruling party will enhance cooperation with the federal government. And part of the statement reads in part, by returning to the APC, we will be better positioned to accelerate infrastructural development, strengthen security coordination, and improve service delivery across Kano State. He also says the move will consolidate party stability and unity in the state, describing it as being in the overall interest of the people of Kano. The statement further disclosed that on Monday, Governor Yusuf will formally register as an APC member in Kano, alongside 22 members of the Kano State Assembly, 8 members of the House of Representatives, and all 44 local government chairmen in the state. The former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, is asking Nigerians not to be in a haste to decide the party to vote for come 2027. Honorable Dogara explains that the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, should be allowed to roll out its agenda while the ruling party showcases its own success. Then Nigerians can now pick a choice to vote for. He spoke on our political program, Sunday Politics.
We've noticed that the engagement of the opposition right now, I didn't want to talk about that, is filled with vitriol, with bluster, with gripes. That to me is even the threat to our democracy more than this threat of having a one-party system that they are talking about. But you see, the truth is that all our conversation, what should be at the center of our conversation should be the Nigerian people. And I haven't had the discussion centering, you understand, on the Nigerian people. All I hear is anger about one or two things. But the truth is that what is it that they have developed? What vision? What is the idea that they are rallying behind? I'm yet to see that. And until they are able to now bring alternatives to what the president is doing, and we look at it critically that yes, they are better than what we have, then we begin to take them serious. You are assuming that we will go back to 2023, but I tell you that so much water has passed under the bridge. There are so many people who actively work for Peter Obi, work for Atiku, that will not work for them this time around. So the game has changed. And like I said, wait for us to begin the pushback. We haven't said anything because it's not time for politics yet. And we have the receipts, we'll bring them. All right. Trust me.
Over to Rivers State now, where the All Progressives Congress, the APC, has conducted ward congresses in Ahoda East and Kano local government areas of the state to elect delegates for the party's primaries ahead of the February 21 House of Assembly by-elections. The congresses were held to select delegates who will vote for the party's candidates in the forthcoming by-elections. Well, party officials have also expressed satisfaction with the peaceful conduct of the congresses.
As we move in the River State in the constituencies where we are working, we have seen the reaction of the people. People are happy with the new development. We have got a new leader of APC in the state, and his leadership has further united the family of the APC. You can see APC is getting to be very strong in River State. Now the leadership is there, so people are united. They have a focus, they have a direction, they have a leader where they can hold. And with that, the fortune of the party will be very robust in the next coming election.
We saw in Kano 2 state constituency, as we move around the 8 wards constituting the state constituency, eagerness in our party members to get involved in the process of electing a new member for their state House of Assembly constituency. Despite the fact that the various words were far from each other and getting there took us time. They waited eagerly, and we saw happiness, willingness, and eagerness to partake in the process in them.
35 years after the creation of Yobe State, an All Progressives Congress APC youth group is appealing for the governorship slot to be zoned to Yobe South for inclusiveness. Leaders of the group under the auspices of Bomai Yobe East Solidarity Movement disclosed this at the inauguration of its executive members in Damaturu, the state capital.
Bomai youth groups across the 7 local government areas that make up Yobe East are here for the inauguration of its state executive members ahead of the 2027 general election. The issue of zoning of political offices takes center stage, as Yobe East is said to have produced 3 elected governors since the creation of the state, while Yobe South and North are yet to produce any. The youth maintain that it is time for the All Progressives Congress to give Yobe South a chance to produce a governor. He has now served 7 years representing Yobe South at the National Assembly, and everybody in Yobe has seen the developmental projects executed by him. That is why we are calling on the remaining 13 local government areas to support his candidature. He has constructed over 20 kilometers road in each of the local government areas of his constituency, sponsored students abroad among others.
Zone B and Zone C. Now we have 30 years governor in Yobe. None of us from Zone B or Zone C that did only a single term.
The first pioneer secretary of the group believes there is a need for power shift across the 3 zones to allow inclusiveness in the party.
Since inception of Yobe State, it has been Zone A that has been occupying. Until just 2007, somebody from Yobe South, in person of late Senator Mamambi Ali, after just 20 months, God took his life. His life short-lived. So our call for rotation is just to give Zone B to complete the rotation that started in the year 2007, so that Senator Bomoi can continue from where he stopped.
As the political atmosphere in Yobe State gathers momentum, the demand for a power shift with regards to the governorship seat appears to be gaining momentum.
The managing director of the Nigeria Railway Corporation, Kayode Okwaifa, says that his organization is working with the Office of the National Security Advisor, the military, the police and others to ensure security for passengers across the country. He also appealed to communities that have train tracks running within their boundaries to help curb vandalism on the rail system.
What has happened over years are things we can't discuss on here, but I can say this. The Office of National Security Advisor is involved, the military are involved, the police, the police and the general police, as well as the civil defense. The local vigilante too are involved. It is very, very expensive to sustain. It will be better if those issues are not there, so that you can put those resources to something more. So it's to appeal to communities where train passes through. And I give kudos to the community along the Lagos, Ibadan axis, where you have relatively less vandalization. But on the Warri Itakwe, it's like every day.
Something that goes.
Within the last 6 months, we have fixed almost every kilometer of that track for vandalization issue. Now, what we have done, which is to engage the community leadership to provide the security. Then the same thing with the Abuja Kaduna, which I think is safer than many other lines. People don't know. It's heavily security-wise mined. Then the other aspect of the security issue is the redundancy. You know, people are still worried. If there were issues, will I be able to say, we want to say, we thank God. We've not had anything fatal up to this moment, but by and large, it is still safer than the road.
For a full interview, please watch Newsnight by 9 p.m. on Monday on all channels television platforms. And back to Kaduna State now, where Governor Obasani has reaffirmed his administration's dedication to ending social inequality and fast-tracking infrastructure projects across all 23 local government areas of the state. He made the pledge while commissioning newly completed road projects in Makarfi and Zaria local government areas, reiterating his commitment to sustaining Kaduna's peace model, which aims to enhance security and attract further grassroots development.
Excitement fills Makarfi local government as Governor Obasani arrives to commission the newly constructed asphalt road linking Durham to Kurumtumawa. Residents celebrate the long-awaited development with jubilation. The road forms a key part of Governor Sani's broader infrastructure renewal agenda, designed to open up rural communities, improve the movement of goods and services, and strengthen security in remote areas.
With gratitude and happiness, I want you to remember 22nd day in the month of January 2023. I begged us to please vote Obasani. You all promised me that you will vote him, but asked that this road should be constructed, that people have been here to solicit for our votes, but never came back to fulfill their promises.
At the commissioning ceremony, Governor Obasani highlighted that the road projects are part of his vision for inclusive development, ensuring rural communities, especially those previously marginalized, are not left behind.
This project also exemplifies the pace and discipline of our administration. From conception to completion, it took just 4 months. This achievement demonstrates what is possible when due process is respected, contractors are held accountable, engineers supervise diligently, and host communities cooperate fully.
The governor then performed the ribbon cutting, officially opening the road for public use. Later, he proceeded to Zaria local government to commission additional completed roads, including the asphalt township roads from Magajia Junction to Kasuwan Amaru, Ungwan Liman to Albarkawa Road, and the Audi Kako Road. The chairman, Zaria local government, Jamil Mohammed, says these projects reflect the fulfillment of promises made by the Governor Sani administration, bringing tangible development to the grassroots.
We are grateful for the schools you brought and all the infrastructure you brought to us. All you are doing for us, you have done without taking loans, unlike the one that took loan and didn't do anything for us. Your work is not only in Zaria, but other places like Makarfi.
The Zaria city roads are part of over 1,300 kilometers of highways currently being constructed by Governor Uba Sani's administration, with many already completed and others nearing completion.
Today, more than half of this project have been completed, and we're here to commission one of them. We have made tremendous progress, but our work is not done. We are determined to make Kaduna State a model of progress, development, and inclusivity.
The official commissioning of these roads in Zaria and Makarfi local governments fulfills Governor Sani's promise to reduce social inequality and fast-track infrastructure development across all 23 local government areas of Kaduna State.
The rising case of street begging and out-of-school children in Kano State are massive social issues, and experts believe that they are constituting huge societal menace that requires urgent attention. In the special report, our correspondent Abubakar Salihu examines the factors responsible for the menace and what authorities are doing to tackle it.
Kano, the commercial hub of northern Nigeria, is home to millions of Nigerians. And for some, survival means taking to the streets. According to data from the National Identity Management Commission in 2024, approximately 9.2 million people in Kano State had registered for the national identity numbers. The population is projected to nearly double by 2035. Al-Majiri, poverty and lack of opportunities drive many to beg. But what is the real story? A 2013-2017 study found 68.7% of beggars in Kano are male, with boys aged 7 to 12 making up 58% of that group, and 42% had no visible disabilities, showing many engage in begging for economic reasons. Poverty is a huge driver. Nearly 90% of Kano's residents live below the poverty line, with some areas like Kano North hitting 98%.
We have to beg and scavenge to make a living. We are from poor background without any support. Government should come to our aid. I would like to learn a skill or enroll in school.
The growing population can be a threat to social infrastructure if the right investment in education and healthcare are not made. Scholars in the field of social behavior believe limited economic opportunities and widespread poverty are responsible for the rise in street begging.
Street begging is an old behavior among our people in northern Nigeria. The reason is because when you go back to history, when Western education was brought by the colonial masters, our people or our forefathers rejected it due to the fear of conversion to Christianity. That is the reason why Northerners reject Western education. To them, if they allow their children to go to Western education school, there is tendency that their children will be converted to Christianity.
Street begging in Kano is complex, and religion plays a role. Many beggars are al-Majiri, kids sent to Islamic schools known as Angayas for Quranic education, but often end up on the streets.
Islam discourages begging and encourages self-sufficiency. And when we go back to the sources of the Quran, of the spiritual book of the Muslims, the Quran, or the prophetic sayings or traditions, we can see clearly that begging has been even forbidden in Islam. And even the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned that whoever begs will be humiliated on the day of judgment. Therefore, Islam considers begging as disgusting and even forbidden, haram.
To tackle the menace of street begging and hawking, the Kano state government has initiated programs to integrate Almajiri children into formal education and provide them with vocational training.
The Kano state government has started by encouraging the enrollment of the children back to school, and this has actually succeeded in increasing the number of the children that are now being enrolled in the school, and that has actually included the efforts around building more schools. Social behaviorists have warned that allowing street begging will expose kids to risk like abuse, trafficking, and missing out on education. Abubakar Salihu, Channels Television News.
A 30-year-old Brazilian woman, Miss Ingrid Rosa Benevides, has been arrested by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA, at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja for attempting to smuggle 30.09 kilograms of white heroin into the country. And the drugs concealed in factory-sealed coffee sacks have an estimated street value of over 3 billion naira. According to a statement by the NDLEA's Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, Ms. Rosa, who works at a private security officer in Brazil, was intercepted on Friday, January the 23rd, 2026, upon arrival on Qatar Airways flight following intelligence-led operations. And a search on her 2 bags checked in revealed 21 factory-sealed packets of Brazilian coffee when opened. The statement further disclosed that on Tuesday, NDLEA operatives at Murtala Muhammed International Airport, Lagos, also intercepted 2 passengers, Adediran Adedoyin and Afatakwa Ochuko, en route to Istanbul aboard a Turkish Airlines flight. The duo were found with a total of 3,990 tablets of Tepanadol and Tramaking 225 milligrams concealed in food items packed in their bags. In the world of sports, Nasarawa United have moved second on the Nigeria Premier Football League table following an away win against hosts Abia Warriors in a matchday 22 clash played this evening in Umuahia. And the Lafia-based team are on 38 points from 22 games, 3 points behind Rivers United, who were not involved in domestic league games owing to continental engagement, while Abia Warriors were on 37 points. Rangers International triumphed in the 6-goals thriller against Warri Wolves. Shooting Stars edged Bendel Insurance 1-0. As for Wiki Tourist, they beat Kano Pillars 2-0, and Niger Tornadoes and El Kanemi Warriors enjoyed home wins against Enyimba and Ikorodu City. Matthias Chenez scored a dramatic late winner for the Manchester United side as they defeated Premier League leaders Arsenal in a 5-goal thriller at Emirates Stadium earlier today. It was the Gunners' first defeat in 13 games in all competitions since losing at Aston Villa in December. The Gunners lost at home for the first time in 18 matches in all competitions since losing to Bournemouth in May last year. Chelsea piled more pain on Crystal Palace with a 3-1 win at Selhurst Park. And for Aston Villa, they closed to within 4 points of the Premier League summit with an impressive 2-0 win at Newcastle. Nottingham Forest gave their own survival chances a huge boost by inflicting just a second home defeat of the season on Brentford. And that's it in sports. And outside our shores, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has called for immigration enforcement officers to leave Minneapolis before they kill another American on the street. This comes as federal immigration officers shot and killed a man in the city, identified as 37-year-old Alex Pretty, an intensive care nurse, during a protest against the officers in Minneapolis. The Department of Homeland Security characterized the incident on Saturday as an attack, saying that a border control agent fired in self-defense after Alex approached the agent with a handgun and violently resisted attempts to disarm him. Witness and Perity's family rejected the claim. However, while bystander videos from the scene also appear to contradict the account. And grieving families, friends and classmates gathered today at the Seoul Totetsi complex in South Africa for a memorial service and funeral of 3 of the 14 students killed in a 2-vehicle collision. Coffins decorated with flowers and portraits of the victims were brought to the ceremony. Many of the mourners cried throughout the incident. Mathebi Medupe of South African Principals Association offered condolences to families, teachers and learners, all affected by the crash. A private minibus carrying 16 people collided with a truck in south of Johannesburg on Monday morning, killing 12 children at the scene. 2 others succumbed to their injuries on Thursday, while 2 children remain hospitalized and are now receiving medical care. The driver among those injured is facing multiple charges, including negligent driving and murder.
Possible. Strengthen the friends and classmates who've been lost. May the Lord give
And the main news again. Troops of Operation Fasanyama have neutralized 6 terrorists and rescued victims during an operation in Siburu Forest in Zamfara State. President Bola Tinubu is set to undertake a state visit to Turkey aimed at deepening ties and exploring new avenues of collaboration between the 2 nations. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawado. Have a wonderful week ahead. But before we go on a programming note, we would like to bring you the celebration of the 68th birthday of former Ogun State Governor Senator Ibikunle Amosun, which took place earlier today in Abeokuta, the state capital. And that's coming right after the news at 10, only for our viewers on the DSTV platform. Thanks again for watching and stay with us. I'm Anne Nwawado. Good night.